guys, welcome to Movie Champ Show. We are on episode number 24. Alright, so we have a lot we're going to talk about in this episode.
Yes, we do.
Jam-packed. Yeah, we got a lot of movies that we watched this week. At least I watched this week.
Yes. he's the workhorse of this show. He's the workhorse. That's why it's his, the Movie Champ Show is his baby. He's the workhorse of the unit.
Yeah, so we got quite a few movie reviews. We have a couple news stories that we're going to talk about, movie-related news stories, and some movie trailers that we're going to be talking about.
Including that one.
Yeah, including that one. The big one.
The big one.
Yeah, the big one dropped this week. I surprisingly enough, I thought we were done with Avengers trailers.
No, we were not done. We only had gotten one.
Yeah, so at the time I thought that was enough, but after watching this one, well, I'll save that. I'll save that for later.
Yes. We'll get to that.
Okay. So I guess we're gonna go ahead and jump right into our movie news.
Yes.
Stories. And for the first story that we are going to be talking about is a Lucas Hedges being cast in a Shia Labeouf biopic. He's actually going to be playing Shia Labeouf. Let's go ahead and just read this story here. Lucas Hedges has signed on to play Shia Labeouf in Honey Boy, which Labeouf wrote, essentially making it an auto biopic. Labeouf wrote the movie under the pseudonym Otis Lort and will also act in the project, playing his own father. The mysterious project will tell the tale behind Labeouf's relationship with his dad, James. The description of the script is pretty interesting, to say the least. Honey Boy will detail the relationship between Shia Labeouf and his former clown and drug addict father, James. The description reads, a child actor and his law-breaking, alcohol-abusing father attempt to mend their contentious relationship over the course of a decade. The story will take place right around the time that Labeouf was starring in Disney's Even Stevens. Oh boy, there's a lot to take in there. I don't know which one was the most newsworthy, that Lucas Hedges will be playing Shia Labeouf in a movie, or that there is a Shia Labeouf biopic already.
And he wrote it under Otis Lort.
Yeah, Otis Lort. That actually has a meaning. I forgot what it means, but it's something. It's insulting to his own self, which is funny.
Okay.
But anyways, Lucas Hedges is a great actor. I never in a million years would have seen him playing Shia LaBeouf in a biopic, but it's interesting to see when he's been in a lot of movies lately, especially Oscar-worthy movies. He's nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Manchester by the Sea, and he was in Lady Bird and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri this last year. So, I mean, he's smart. I'm hoping that this is a good movie. I want to know who's directing this thing. There was one initial report that had said that Shia LaBeouf was directing it, but then I've seen several other ones that said he's not directing it. So I don't know. It sounds like an interesting story, definitely. I'm definitely going to be checking it out. It's just
very
out of intrigue alone.
Yeah. Very curious to see what this is about.
Yes.
Especially since you said it was during the time of Even Stevens, his Disney period.
Right.
Wow, that's going to be very interesting to see that juxtaposition.
Yeah.
To see him him switch modes like that.
Right. Between family friendly and whatever else was going on with him at that time. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to check this out. It's got my interest. I'm giving this one it's a thumbs up. I don't know we're not doing that anymore, but if we were, I'm giving this a thumbs up just out of pure intrigue. Yeah,
pure intrigue alone, too. I'd give it one, too. Okay,
so, guys, what do you guys think about a Shia LaBeouf biopic starring Lucas Hedges and Shia LaBeouf playing his own father? I mean, that part is also interesting because they're fairly close in age. They're like not even 10 years apart, I don't think. So that's really, I don't know. Shia LaBeouf's an interesting guy, so I don't know.
He'll figure a way to pull it off.
Definitely. So let's go ahead and move on to our next story. And that's Spike Lee to direct a Nightwatch movie. Read that one here. So Spike Lee is eyeing Sony's Spider-Man spinoff Nightwatch as a directing vehicle. The Wrap has confirmed Nightwatch would be a part of Sony's Spider-Man universe along with other Marvel Comics properties such as Venom, Silver and Black, and Morbius the living vampire. Insiders caution that Spike Lee's potential involvement is in the very early stages, but that he could potentially direct the superhero film written by Luke Cage showrunner Chio Hadari Coker. That's how you say his name. Okay, so
We
what's
froze.
up? We're froze. Oh man.
Be right back.
Be right back, guys. Okay, we're back, guys. Let's get back here. All right.
Hello.
So we just read that story about Spike Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Spike Lee's a great director, some of the time.
Mm-hmm.
How does this hit you as a comic book fan? And probably,
I just really wish Sony would just give up.
that is not the question.
That's not. But the answer is But that is the answer, because if they give up, we wouldn't be having this conversation about
I know,
Spider-Man.
but Spider-Man was an excellent movie, the last one anyway.
Yeah, but that was only because Marvel Studios stepped in and helped out tremendously.
And
Could you imagine Could you imagine them rebooting it a third time on their own?
I don't know. Just for this story alone, how does this story anyway go?
I mean, Spike Lee's a talented director and all this and all like that. I'm interested to see what he can do with it, but at the same time, the purist in me wants to see all these pieces at home,
right?
And then they can do more with it instead of just being isolated to just Spider-Man.
Well, Spike Lee does pretty dark tone films,
mm-hmm.
And everything that seems to be attached to the Spider-Man universe right now, really dark. Venom, Morbius. I don't know about the other one. What was the other one called?
Silver and Black.
Silver and Black. I don't know if that's a dark story.
Silver Sable and Black Cat. That one will probably be a lighter fare movie, because that's involving two female characters and they're like heists and all this. So it might be a little lighter. But
Spike Lee's, I don't if this has any comedic elements. He does comedy pretty well too. So I don't know. I mean, I think he's an interesting choice. I definitely want to see more concept stuff. I really want to see a trailer before I get my ultimate opinion on this. But for what we have right now, I'm not going to give this one a thumbs up. I'm not giving this one a thumbs up, because there's more hits or more misses than hits with Spike Lee movies. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, he's an interesting pick, but yeah, not giving this one my thumbs up.
I'm not looking forward to this at all.
Okay.
The news is intriguing, but it's not really like setting my world on fire.
Because I mean, we also were really, really intrigued with the Venom movie with Tom Hardy and Michelle Williams, and that trailer left me with desire.
And that trailer looks like it's coming this fall to Fox.
Yeah.
Special effects and all.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
it looks like it could literally air right after The Gifted.
Yeah, maybe I just need to see a little bit more out of the Spider-Man universe to get more interest here.
The only thing that Spider-Man in the movie that's interesting me that's not connected to the MCU is that Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yes, that one I'm excited
about.
That looks awesome.
That looks like they put effort into that.
Yeah, that one looks really awesome. So I do want to see that one.
I want to see that one, but outside of that,
yeah, okay, that's fair.
Nothing else.
Yeah, fair. That's pretty much my opinion here. Just one, I need to see more from this universe till I can actually give an honest opinion on it. Because, like I said, if I was excited about the Venom movie from that, if I hadn't seen the Venom trailer, I'd still be really excited. The Venom trailer, like I said, it lowered my excitement just a little bit because there was nothing in there
nothing to get excited about.
Yeah, nothing to get excited about.
You see, like maybe 5 black veins run up Tom Hardy's neck, and that's like, whoo. Venom.
Yeah.
No. And then you see a symbiote rolling around in the tube looking like the Transformium from Age of Extinction.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I just referenced Age of Extinction.
Age of Extinction. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next story. Danny Boyle. He is going to direct the next Bond movie. So, Slumdog Millionaire director Danny Boyle has confirmed that he's working on the next James Bond movie. The filmmaker made the admission to Metro New York on Wednesday night at a special screening in the New York of his new FX series Trust. We are working on a script right now. he said when asked if he's directing the next film in the franchise. And it all depends on that. Really, I am working on a Richard Curtis script at the moment. We hope to start shooting that in 6 or 7 weeks. Then, Bond would be right at the end of the year. But we are working on them both right now. Alright, so how does this news sound to you of Danny Boyle directing a Bond movie?
Talk about being done by the end of this year?
Yeah, well, it's being done with whatever that other script he was working on, and then starting shooting on this Bond movie at the end of this year.
Oh, okay, starting shooting.
Yeah, he's going to start production.
That makes more sense. Actually, like, how are they going to hotshot this one? But that makes more sense.
Yeah. So, Danny Boyle is one of my favorite directors. I watch anything he does because, I mean, ever since The Beach, and I'm blanking already at the moment. The other movies he's done. Golly.
28 Days Later.
28 Days Later, and Trainspotting.
Trainspotting, yes.
Yeah. Trainspotting 2 wasn't as good as Trainspotting 1, but everything else.
It's like a movie like Trainspotting is hard to capture the magic twice.
Yeah. And I wasn't a huge fan of Jobs, or the Steve Jobs movie. I wasn't a huge fan of that one either, but he did great. It just was the story that he was telling wasn't all that interesting.
That was the one with Michael Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender, yeah.
Yeah. The other one was the Ashton Kutcher one.
Yeah. Yeah. But everything else, like Slumdog Millionaire and 127 Hours.
Mm-hmm.
Those were great movies. So, as far as him directing a Bond movie, I'm sold on that. I think he's a perfect fit for that. Especially with his style, his fast camera work, and all that stuff. I'm interested in seeing what he can do with this franchise, especially if this is going to be Daniel Craig's last Bond movie. I want to see, because to be honest, I'm not a huge Bond fan outside of the Daniel Craig franchise. I think it was a little too campy before he started as Bond. So, yeah, I'm giving this one a thumbs up. One thumb up.
I'm right there with you. Thumbs up. I'm interested.
So, guys, what do you guys think of Danny Boyle directing this Bond movie? You guys excited about it? Let us know in the comments. So, let's go ahead and move on to our last news story. And that's Ava DuVernay going to direct the DC's New Gods movie. After making history as the first woman of color to helm a $100+ million live action film in A Wrinkle in Time, Ava DuVernay will continue to play in the event film Sandbox. She's closing a deal with the Warner Brothers in DC to direct a big budget screen adaptation of The New Gods, the creation of revered comic book impresario Jack Kirby. The studio has set Cario Salem of Chasing Mavericks as the writer. They'll craft the narrative and work closely with DuVernay. Okay, how does this sound to you? As a comic book fan,
I think I was the same before we started the show. I don't know much about the New Gods. I've always been more Marvel than DC. But as far as Ava DuVernay directed this movie, I don't know how I feel about that. Considering how she actually was how fast and loose she played with adapting the material that was given to her with A Wrinkle in Time. That may have been more studio than her with that movie, but I'm feeling that it might even be worse doing a DC film and considering all the decisions that the studio made with the last ones that just came out.
I find it hard to ever put any blame on Disney because they're not known for being really involved with the directors. They usually, as far as their Marvel stuff and most of the Disney movies that I know of, they don't usually get too hands-on with the directors. They usually hire the directors that they hire and hope for the best. But I don't know. But you are right though about how the big budget worked out for A Wrinkle in Time. I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. I gave it a fair score. I think I gave it a 7 out of 10. But yeah, she's proven herself to be a capable director. Visually, I have issues as far as how she is as far as an acting director. She has a great relationship with her actors. That is without a doubt a fact. I've seen from or heard so many good things from the actors that she works with. But as far as her being an actor's director, that's just like helping them within their scene. That definitely did not show in A Wrinkle in Time. But as far as I did say I'd give her another shot with another movie, but I didn't say it had to be a big budget movie. But as far as we're working with another big budget, I'm mildly intrigued about it, but not enough to give this a thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm middle of the road like you.
Yeah, right here in the middle.
Just right there in the middle.
Yeah. So, guys, that's my opinion on it. What do you guys think about Ava DuVernay directing The New Gods? I don't know enough about this story even to even give it a real opinion. This isn't a huge franchise for DC as far as it's well known, so maybe this won't even be that big of a budget anyway.
It'll probably be maybe not, but at the same time though, DC is looking for their next Guardians of the Galaxy.
True.
Taking something that was very unknown and niche and making it like a household name overnight. Because Guardians of the Galaxy, before they made the movie, no one really knew who they were. So that's why they were given carte blanche to do what they want with it, because there really wasn't nothing to. They was like, well, they just wanted to get the exposure for that brand out there, so they did it, and then it worked so well. It's like other studios are trying to find their Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, well, what deep lore comic book can we mine for this Guardians of the Galaxy moment? That's why Suicide Squad was their attempt first.
The part that worked so well with the Guardians of the Galaxy, in my opinion, was so much of that was James Gunn. Mm-hmm. That was James Gunn. This is still James Gunn's baby.
Yeah, they basically gave James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, yes. Guardians is your baby. Do what you will with it, and we'll just. And
it seemed to fit right in James Gunn's wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Ava DuVernay, I'm not sure where her wheelhouse is besides documentaries and biopics. Mm-hmm. That seems to fit right perfectly for her. So far, from what we've seen, I don't know Ava DuVernay's personality enough to know if these types of movies are
best suited for her.
Yeah. So
like you may want to make these big budget projects, but you may not be suited for it. There have been other directors that have came out, tried to dip their toe in the big budget water, and hasn't seen much results. Like,
looking at Duncan Jones right now.
I would throw Guy Ritchie in there.
Guy Ritchie too, yeah.
Yeah, because he makes good movies,
like those indie movies with that big budget feel to it.
Yeah, he like mid budget movies. Yes. Yeah, like the only one that he really has success with, and I would like when I'm really eagerly waiting for the third one of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like the Sherlock Holmes franchise.
Yes. I actually own the first two on Blu-ray myself, and I'm eagerly awaiting for them to finally announce 3. Yeah. And no more King Arthurs.
No more King Arthurs. Yeah. But yeah, that's my opinion. Guys, let us know your opinion of Ava DuVernay directing The New Gods, and how do you guys feel about the New Gods movie being even made? Let us. I don't know anything about The New Gods, so if you guys want to tell me about The New Gods,
only New God I know off the top of my head is Darkseid. That's the only one I know off the top of my head.
I know none.
If you want to educate me in the comments or email me about The New Gods, let me know, because I'm dying to know more.
Yep. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to some trailers.
Oh, yes.
All right. And the first one is very interesting. This one is Sorry to Bother You. Lakeith Stanfield plays, is that Cassius?
Cassius Green.
Cassius Green.
That is like a very Afro-American name. My name is Cassius Green.
A shaggy Oakland telemarketer who finally finds his calling in life when a wise old coworker, played by Danny Glover, advises him to adopt a white voice, provided by Arrested Development's David Cross, to sell products to his customers over the phone.
And let me be the first to tell you, the white voice is a real thing in the black community.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm talking with my normal voice right now. I'm not going to show you that here now, But the next time I call you on the phone, I'm gonna throw it on you so you're not expecting it.
All right.
Yeah, so you know how real of a thing it is.
Okay.
Yeah. but they're exaggerating it for the sake of the movie, but yeah, that is a real thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, this movie trailer seemingly it came out of nowhere.
It really did.
But after watching this and seeing how excited I am to actually watch this entire movie, I thought, I said, gosh, they cast Lakeith Stanfield perfectly.
Yes, it is.
He's the perfect choice for this kind of movie. Because I mean, if you've seen like the movies like Get Out and Atlanta, or the show Atlanta and stuff, with the stuff that he does on in the movies that he's given, especially even Death Wish. Or Death Note, not Death Wish, Death Note. I haven't seen Death Wish yet. Death Note.
I wish Death Note had a Death Wish. they butchered that.
Yeah, but anyways, and then seeing some of the interviews with Lakeith, he's an interesting guy. He's very interesting, to say the least.
And I'm happy that he's searching out these interesting roles.
Yes, this looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The director of this, do you know the director's name off the top of your head?
No, unfortunately, I do not remember the director.
The director, let's see here. Sorry to bother you. Director is Boots Riley. Who this is one of his first movies he's ever directed. He's a musician mostly, so this looks like a really interesting first-time director. So we might be actually. I told you whenever I sent this link to you for this trailer, I said this could be this year's Get Out.
Yeah, like this. Yeah, I can see why you say that. It's very different, unique, and it has a style to everything that it does.
Yes,
like the whole dynamic of whenever he calls somebody, he's like dropped in the room with them instead of just being split screen.
Right.
That's a unique way to do. This is a very standard story of a dude trying to make his way up the telemarketing ladder.
Right.
But the style they're bringing with it makes it feel so different.
And it looks so like slick. It doesn't look like something done by a first-time director.
No.
And this movie is playing very well at the film festivals right now.
You know what I think? You know what I think that is?
What's that?
When you're a first-timer, you're not afraid to fail. You just go out there and make the movie you want to make, and then if people like it, they like it. They don't, they don't. But when you're making your first one, it's just you making your. This is where passion is truly shown.
That's what I was gonna say. Usually, the first film is your most passionate one.
Mm-hmm.
As this is the one that's you've probably been sitting on it for a while trying to get this thing made, and you've had time for it to, to become part of you, and that's how it becomes more of a passion project. Where second, third, when you get a couple more under your belt, you start.
It's all about keeping the reputation at that point,
or staying. You get a little play too much in your comfort zone or something. That's. So this looks like a very, very good movie, and I'm hoping it's as good as some of the critics are talking about, and as good as this trailer makes it look. Another person, Tessa Thompson, and she's been picking some really great roles ever since. I think the first time I saw her was in Creed, and she's just been like Thor Ragnarok and Annihilation, and this one. She's picking great movies. And Armie Hammer, he seemingly, I had no idea he was going to be in this one either. So yeah, he looks like an interesting character in this.
Yes, he does.
And Danny Glover. Danny Glover hasn't been in a lot of good movies lately. So this looks like a really, I don't know. I'm excited for this.
I'm very excited.
So I'm giving this 2 thumbs up if I could.
Oh yes,
2 thumbs up for this trailer.
Wish I had more hands.
Yeah. So guys, check if you haven't checked out the trailer for Sorry to Bother You, definitely give that one a look and let us know what you think of it, because this is one of my it's on the top of my list of most anticipated movies of the year right now.
Yeah, I would put it up there very high on the list
for indie movies. I'll give it that.
No, not indie movie, but movie in general. Okay. But the number one spot.
It's still going to be Avengers.
It's just because I was trying to tease.
No, we don't need to tease.
Because we got to talk about it next.
The next one.
Yeah, I was gonna say the next, but my number one is that you would click to
This one.
Yes!
Avengers Infinity War official trailer dropped this week. So Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, and the rest of the Avengers unite to battle their most powerful enemy yet, the evil Thanos. On a mission to collect all 6 Infinity Stones, Thanos plans to use the artifacts to inflict his twisted will on reality. The fate of the planet and existence itself has never been more uncertain, as everything the Avengers have fought for has led up to this moment. Come on. There we go. Okay, we're not frozen. Cool. Anyway, so yes, the Avengers Infinity War official trailer. I said this at the top of the show. I had no idea that we were getting another trailer. I thought we were done with trailers and that was all we had to, but of course that's not the fact. Of course I thought we were getting some like Instagram videos and some TV spots and stuff like that. Normally the TV spots are more revealing than the actual trailers are, which is upsetting. But yeah, I don't want to see any more until the movie. We are not too far away from it.
I just want you know what? Bring back the Ant-Man ad campaign. Just have a few characters do something stupid and repeat something random from the movie. Like remember when I'm talking about Ant-Man and Michael Douglas up there like ham boning? Yeah. They're like ants, Ant-Man. Yeah. Bring something like that back to this movie. Don't show nothing else. Just have that.
Right. Like I've said this a while ago on the show that Disney or Marvel has put in $1 billion for these next 2 Avengers movies. So they're gonna need. I mean, they don't need to worry about. I don't think they need to worry about getting the people to the seats. They're gonna show to make up for that money.
Oh yeah, you heard about pre-sales already, right?
No.
It already beat Black Panther in pre-sales 6 hours in the ticket sale.
Jeez.
Yes. In 6 hours, it already topped the number Black Panther set. And it sold more on top of that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so this movie is going to be a hit. Yes. Hold on, I'm gonna take the little filter off so you can hear it. Hit. Okay. All right, there you go. You got that? You got all that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a hit.
Yes, very much so. I just really want I just want them to just dump a bag with 6 Hobby Lobby jewels in it and an index card that says Infinity War, April 27th. I'll be like, I'm there. That'll be the next commercial.
Do you think that a low Rotten Tomatoes score could ruin the box office for this movie?
That would imply that
if in a universe where that happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In a universe where that can happen, no,
not even for this one. Okay,
I'll say it like this: as much as we hated Batman vs Superman, people still saw it. Yeah, it still made a lot of money.
Oh yeah, and that one had a really, really low one.
Yeah, Justice League had a higher one, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
And it made less than Batman vs Superman, right?
Yeah, it did. That was just years coming.
Yeah. So that's not to say that it can happen, but I don't see a low Rotten Tomato score or box office diminishing for this movie because they've only shown that they've gotten better since Phase 1.
Yes.
Cause like the last few they've done, the lowest rated one was what, Guardians 2, and that's still like in the mid 80s.
Yep. And you made a good point earlier before the show. You had mentioned why why this will work because of you mentioned some established characters.
Yeah, what I said before the show was the reason why this movie will work with all these characters in it, as opposed to why Justice League failed with less. They don't have to introduce a whole lot of new characters or elements in this movie.
Right.
They just have to expand on the elements they've been introducing further. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, we know the Avengers, we know the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Spider-Man, and all the Doctor Strange and all the people with them. You don't have to introduce them to us again. What you have to do now is show them meeting each other.
Right.
Okay, how does this area of the Marvel Universe and this area of the Marvel Universe, how do they interact once they meet? You don't have to go, well, this is Doctor Strange. He is the Sorcerer Supreme. And no, we know who he is. We know who he is. And have him do that kind of stuff to the people who don't know who he is, i.e. maybe like your Spider-Mans and your Guardians and whatnot, or even make jokes about it because we know what he can do, but it would be more realistic if they don't know and he just kind of does it.
So one thing that definitely is this movie has going in its favor, especially that we were able to see in this trailer, some stakes. There's actually some stakes.
Yeah, because they actually, and another thing that was another thing that Justice League movie didn't have.
Stakes.
It had no stakes because we didn't care about anyone.
Yes.
Like by the time we got here, just the image of Captain America struggling with all his might against Thanos was enough to go, no, I don't want to see him die.
Yeah.
Just that one image of him like giving everything he has. They didn't get like that's another thing the DC movies didn't do. They didn't give us a moment to care about anyone.
Yeah.
They just felt like, oh, we're gonna kill Superman.
Yep.
Why?
Right.
Where is the benefit to doing that for the story? There is no. He didn't struggle for that. He didn't struggle to die. He just kind of like went into death. Like that is not his story. That was very dumb to do. Like here, they're teasing 3 major deaths.
They're frozen. Dang it.
Okay, hold on a second, guys.
We are back.
All right.
Sorry about that. This is still one of the worst parts about streaming.
Yeah, the camera kind of just does what it wants.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I was explaining before we froze the last time, all of the elements that they don't have to spend time introducing to us all over again. They can just play with them now.
Yeah.
We know what the Infinity Stones are. We know what the Gauntlet is. We know what they can do.
Yeah.
But there's only one stone that you have to introduce, and that could be the plot. That could be the new thing you explain to us. The one stone we have not seen anywhere. Soul.
Oh, the Soul Stone. Yeah.
We don't know what it is or what it can do. So that's your new plot device for this movie. You're not introducing the Infinity Stone concept as a whole.
Right.
You're just introducing the last Infinity Stone. So that could be your mother box moment of the movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah.
Cause like when Justice League started, we just see Batman chasing a dude to a rooftop, tie him up, dangle him off a edge, and says, "They can smell fear." Who?
Yeah.
You didn't tease a parademon not once in any other movie, and now we're supposed to accept that Batman knows what they are, how to defeat them.
Mm-hmm. Man. All right, guys. So
DC bash over.
Yeah. So, guys, let us know in the comments what you guys thought about the Avengers Infinity War. I guess there's not really any way to spoil this movie because nobody's seen it yet. So feel free to talk about what you guys think might be going on, and let's have a discussion. This seems like there's just a lot to take in if you watch this trailer.
Oh yes, very much so.
So there's a lot of cool theories. Let us know your theories. That's also
I might go see this like 50 times.
Oh yeah.
And anytime I get a dull moment and got 3 hours to kill, I'm seeing Infinity War.
Yeah, and this is the longest Marvel MCU movie so far. So
there's only 9 minutes longer than Civil War.
Yeah,
I can live with that.
Yep.
Because Civil War was awesome too.
Yes, I could have used another 45 minutes of Civil War actually.
Oh yeah, I could. If I could handle it, I'd do the 31-hour marathon.
Oh, that ain't happening for me at all. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our very first movie review for this episode.
Yes.
And that is Strangers Prey at Night. Mike and his wife Cindy take their son and daughter on a road trip that becomes their worst nightmare. The family members soon find themselves in a desperate fight for survival when they arrive at a secluded mobile home park that's mysteriously deserted until 3 masked psychopaths show up to satisfy their thirst for blood. Okay, so I saw this one. You did not.
Okay.
Did you ever see the first The Strangers?
I have seen the first Strangers, and it looks like a totally different movie from the. I haven't seen the first Strangers at all, but from what I've gathered from the first Strangers, and then compare it to this one, it don't feel like it's a sequel to this. It doesn't feel like the same movie.
That is a very good assessment, because this is not. Besides maybe the mask that these characters wear and maybe their motivation, this is not the same.
Well, this
Strangers
one
from the first.
While the first Strangers felt like it was a psychological. Why are they doing this? Is there a reason? why is any of this happening to these people? This one feels like, ooh, 80s slasher movie, baby.
Okay. Yes. Again, a very good assessment.
The
80s
That's
slasher.
why I'm here.
Yes. So this one, for the first 2 acts of this movie, this family made. I mean, the whole movie they made very stupid decisions, and that part is. I wondered why. I said, why would they make such these stupid decisions? I said, I said, it's so cliche for them to be doing some of these things. Why would any writer or director? Because the director is a very good director. 47 meters down. That
Yeah.
movie. I think that he directed that, and that was a really good movie. I felt like he was a more capable director than to be making things or these types of things that were so obvious happen. And then the third act hit, and I said, I know why he's doing this. So much of what he was doing became obvious. That he was this movie was less of a Stranger sequel and more of a tribute to the 70s and 80s slasher movies, where that kind of stuff happened on the normal. The characters were very underdeveloped, just similar to these movies, to this movie, very underdeveloped characters. They made absolutely the worst decisions, because they want you to yell at the screen, stop doing, don't go that door, why'd you put your gun down, why'd you lose all this stuff? That they were making decisions just like the 70s and 80s slasher movies. And this movie became very clearly a tribute, more so to John Carpenter and whoever the director of
Wes Craven.
Well, some of Wes Craven, some of Tobe Hooper, I think his name is, the one that directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm-hmm. Tobe Hooper.
Yeah, Tobe Hooper.
No, just Tobe.
Tobe Hooper. Okay, so I thought the E was not silent.
You don't pronounce the E.
So Tobe Hooper. Okay. Anyways,
a dude with the name of Tobe sounds like he would write a movie, make a movie called Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes. So yes, there was definite elements of either clear tributes or I would never call them ripoffs. They didn't seem like ripoffs. They were very.
So would you say
intentional?
Like most franchises of the 80s, the first one was a movie made to be taken seriously.
Yes. And
then later in the franchise, it would spin off into camp territory.
Yes.
Kind of let's say for example, First Blood.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very dramatic movie about a veteran dealing with PTSD in a small town.
Yes.
By the time we get to Rambo 3, he's just a dude with a big gun blowing people away.
Yes.
Because it's moved so far away from what the first film was.
It's a lot like The Purge was. The Purge was a very grounded. The first movie was very grounded. It was very much in one setting the entire time. Mm-hmm. Where now it's this huge universe and the whole world is freaking killing each other.
But see, unlike the movies like The Strangers and all these things like that, that movie is just showing you when we saw the first Purge movie, mm-hmm. Not the movie that's coming out this July called The First Purge.
Right.
When they made the first Purge movie, we were just seeing one family dealing with it.
Right.
And then when all of it coming to their door. Mm-hmm. The later Purge movies expanded the universe by putting us on street level.
Right.
Which makes sense because even though the first family first dealt with this house, this is what happened on Purge night every night.
Yes.
So it wasn't that ridiculous to see this kind of thing happen in the streets in these later movies because this is what happened in the first movie. We just didn't see it.
Right.
So it didn't feel like that. When I watched the Purge and Purge Anarchy, I felt okay. So this is what happened outside somewhere else away from this family.
Yeah. So with this one, this one still is very much just one family. This doesn't go outside of. Not much anyway. There's a couple characters attached here and there, but for the most part, the focus remains on this family because this is a secluded trailer park. As far as the cinematography goes, excellent cinematography. Very well lit, and like I said, they have some. There are some definite tributes to John Carpenter. Some of the cinematography done in John Carpenter. One very neat shot and very blatant, where like the scene fades from this girl's eyes and then it becomes like these lanterns that are hanging on a building. It fades into that to go to this next scene. I was like, okay, that's definitely a John Carpenter trick that they just did there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one scene that takes place in a truck. That was definitely with one of the main characters right in the back of a truck. That was definitely a tribute to Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre scene at the end of that. So there's a lot of really neat tributes and Easter eggs in this movie. But I mean, ultimately, besides those, it's a very empty movie and very lacking in tension, terror, and there are some parts where I felt like had these characters been developed a little better, I could have felt more of that tension there. But like I said, these characters were underdeveloped, so I really didn't care what was about to happen to them. I mean, there's really long scene where a character gets killed in a car that's would probably, if had been executed a little better, would have been really terrifying and really tense. But I really wasn't on the edge of my seat, and because you know what's just about to happen. Where they waited. The thing that worked so well in The Strangers is that you didn't know if anybody was going to die, and two, you didn't know when it was going to happen. Where this one, they choose the pick one off, one by one method. So you know this person's about to get it, this person's about to get it, this person's about to get it. So there was no tension built up in this.
There was
movie.
no moment in the movie where you go, "Oh, they may get away."
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're in a room by yourself and you're approaching a closet door. You're about to get it here.
Yeah. And the other one that worked so well I can't help but compare the two because the first one is a very good movie. The other part that worked so well in the first Strangers movie was these killers felt human, whereas in this one they feel more like monsters. Like there's no real way to shake these guys off, which kind of sucked. And they always knew where you were going to be, which is weird. Like, were you tracking them somehow? They got cameras all over the place. How do they know each time anytime you try to hide, they're going to be there? So that part felt more like we're messing with supernatural monsters rather than human beings that shouldn't be able to find you that well or to track you down or any of these things. And the other part, the very important part, is because this does take place in modern times, even though they want to make this feel like an 80s throwback, is the cell phones. They had these characters not in the beginning of the movie left their cell phones in the trailer, which nobody probably would ever do in the middle of to walk outside in the middle of the night. Had that part of the plan not taken place, this whole movie would never have happened.
I barely leave my phone. If I'm in the dark and I have my phone, you know what? It's two chops. I got a flashlight.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm never going anywhere without this. So.
Yeah. So had that one element of impossibility not happened, this whole movie would never have happened. And then they're like, "Oh, I gotta call the police," and movie's over.
or you could have it play the tension out differently. First half hour you set them up there getting there, and then the first thing happens, and then they call the police. And since the town is so small, well, it's going to be about an hour till we get out to you.
See, that would have been something. That would have been an interesting and more realistic thing.
So now you got to survive. Now the whole family has to survive an hour till the cops get there.
Yeah. So
it would have made the movie more video gamey, but it's been more tense to see like just an hour of straight tension to try to survive.
I think there's one scene that happens in a pool. It's this real neon nightmarish scene that actually worked for me. It as far as me feeling on the edge of my seat and tense, and the way that it was shot was outstanding. So this was a very good technical film, and you can tell that this director means well, I guess. And I was entertained, but as far as a really good horror film, I really was underwhelmed. But the actors in this film, like Christina Hendricks, Bailey Madison, excellent actors. everybody did very well with what they were given, especially Bailey Madison. I think she's underutilized in films, especially in this one. She really needs more shots and some better films, because she did really well when she was growing up, getting some good parts. But she has just lately she's been stuck in TV purgatory, and now that she's in this, and it's not going to do much of anything for her. But she did excellent in this movie. So now we're going to get to the soundtrack in this movie. Also was definitely a John Carpenter tribute, I guess. It's like they were playing the hits with John Carpenter in this movie. Anyways, score time. I'm gonna give this one 7.5 out of 10, because I'm gonna watch this again. I will watch this again. I like what I was given. Besides, like I said, the horror part, but everything else was a feast to the eyes. So I actually kind of like that.
So what you're saying is you'll probably buy it on Blu-ray? Yeah,
I'll buy it on Blu-ray. It's definitely not one I probably would have ever wanted to watch in a theater.
Would you spring for the 4K?
Yeah, I'll spring for the 4K. Yeah, it'll look even better.
Okay.
But yeah, I this was definitely, like I said, more feast of the eyes than it was for the blood or the. Well, actually, no, this was pretty bloody. So that was the other thing. The Strangers, there's nearly no blood in that movie, and this one, there's a lot of it. So,
again, I'm comparing it to later movies in the franchise where, like the first Friday the 13th was a slasher movie, yes, but it was a very grounded slasher movie. By the time we get to Jason X, where they're in outer space and they froze his body after 1,000 years, it's just like, well, how do we kill him? What inventive way can we kill people now?
Yep.
Speaking of which, developers, hi there. I would love a Jason X level for that Friday the 13th game. I would like to see like a zero gravity mechanic or something.
Oh,
That'd be kind of cool.
It's coming. It's coming.
Oh yeah,
you'll know it's coming. There's gonna be some sequels.
Oh no, if they do it right, they could just add it to the game they got now. But they've been adding new Jasons all the time with different abilities.
True.
So they just have to make a Jason X level.
They just don't want you shelling out so much money for this whenever they are probably planning a sequel.
Yeah, I would like to see them make another one and then add other characters from other horror movies, not just Friday the 13th. Could you imagine a mode where it's Freddy, Michael, and Jason all careening on everyone? That would be nuts.
Oh yeah,
but fun.
Yep. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie review. That is Thoroughbreds. Childhood friends Lily and Amanda reconnect in suburban Connecticut after years of growing apart. Lily has turned into a polished upper-class teenager who has a fancy boarding school on her transcript and a coveted internship on her resume. Amanda has developed a sharp wit and her own particular attitude, all in the process of becoming a social outcast. Though they initially seem completely at odds, the pair eventually bond and hatch a plan to solve both of their problems.
And I can imagine this going completely left.
Okay, so I watched this one again. I watched this one by myself, and you hadn't seen this one yet.
No.
So I think I said this wherever we were watching some of the trailers. I said if they pull this movie off, this will probably be one of my favorite movies of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. This was they pulled it off pretty well, actually. Excellent performances from everybody across the board was excellent in this movie. But Olivia Cooke probably had the biggest was probably the biggest standout in this movie. She was really good, especially with that disconnected personality she got. It's not even a disconnected personality. It's
apathetic.
Yeah, I guess apathetic is a good word for it.
She can care if she wants to, but she doesn't want to.
She cannot care. No, she cannot care. It's emotionally disconnected.
Yeah, that's maybe the best word.
Maybe I don't know. Because they don't really give it a term in this movie. But this is such a good psychological study. I guess a psychological experiment, a psychological thriller. It's not much of a thriller, more than it is like a slight comedic drama, but the comedy is very low here, I guess. There's not a lot of levity in here, but some parts kind of you get a good chuckle out of. But that's not either way. Anyway, um, it's not completely predictable either, which is something I thought because I'm always just waiting. I said they got me attached. I'm engaged in this movie. I'm just for so how many times I've been let down with movies. I was waiting. I said, when are they gonna drop the ball here? When are they gonna let me down? When is it gonna happen? It never really happened. So I was emotionally connected this whole movie. And Olivia Cooke does not drop out of character one bit. That's another thing I was trying to see. Just like, is she ever going to fall out of character, or is there anything gonna? I'm just was watching just to see if anything happened with her to where she didn't just keep this whole thing up going the whole time. And she does. She keeps it going. And I think the way that they advertise this is that I'm blanking on the girl's name, Anya Taylor-Joy. She's supposed to be the polar opposite of Olivia Cooke's character. For the most part, she is, but I thought she was going to be a little bit more to the other side. But it does show in this movie how, even though these two have very different personalities, how fairly similar they're going to end up at one point together with those two different personalities, which is really very well to credit to the writer and director of this movie. He did a very good job at getting these characters where they needed to get to by the end of this movie. And I don't know, this was just such a good movie. And Anton Yelchin, this was the last movie he shot before tragically passing away. He was very good in this movie. He wasn't in there much, but what he did in this movie, he left a huge mark on, which is cool.
Think any Oscar nods will come out of this movie later?
No, it's not going to leave a mark in the box office or probably with crowds.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask.
I wish it was. I wish it did, but I just as far as
that's usually like a benchmark for you. You know what I'm saying?
I think I don't know, this kind of movie is one of those ones that probably would have played better on Netflix than in because I don't see a lot of people going out and seeing this movie, but and the cinematography in this was interesting, as I feel like it was an intention on the director to have such crowded shots, where you felt more uncomfortable. Like there's like a lot going on in the background. They wanted you to feel like the character felt like this is like way too much on me right now.
Yeah. Can everyone just back up a bit?
It was a sensory overload as far as what was going on. Like just decorations in the background of this giant mansion that they're in. You don't know quite. Your eyes don't quite go where you want them to go. The focus isn't always. It stays. There's some shots that were in focus, which is why I wondered at some point is this intentional? Because one shot would be in focus and the other one would just be flat, but with a lot going on in the background. So maybe that was probably per character.
Yeah, because the way they do it, as I was about to ask,
because it was mostly with Olivia Cooke's character.
I'm thinking that might be intentional, where like she doesn't care about the details, but they are there. So then to the person who cares about the details, it's like, well, that's kind of distracting, all that behind you.
Yeah. See, while Olivia Cooke's character, while she does not feel any emotion herself, she's trained herself to. She's heightened her senses as far as what she believes other people are feeling, where she can almost assess an entire situation based off of just a little bit of details, which is really neat. Like she's like a human lie detector sometimes, and she especially has Anya Taylor-Joy's character really figured out pretty well, which is interesting. It's an interesting way to view somebody that can have such emotional detachment in themselves. Like she literally feels. She says she feels nothing for anybody. And she doesn't care about anything. She doesn't feel any shame, so she'll say things that most would be too embarrassed or ashamed to say themselves. She'll say not feel anything. So she was able to emotionally manipulate a lot of people, which is cool. So I don't know. She's such an interesting character, and was so everything was so well developed. That this was an excellent movie. This was well crafted, nice. It was definitely not like like Heathers or like Tragedy Girls. I mean, I know they in the advertisement they talked about it being like Heathers. It didn't feel like that to me. But as far as like Tragedy Girls, it wasn't that kind of movie either. I thought it was gonna be more like Tragedy Girls, and it wasn't. It was his own movie. I was still extremely happy for what it turned out.
It wasn't a slasher movie,
right? It wasn't necessarily a slasher movie, but yeah, it wasn't like a real horror movie or a throw or like I don't know what you call it, but yeah, it wasn't like that. Anyways, score time. What am I gonna give this movie?
We need a score time graphic.
Score time graphic.
Score time.
Yeah, score time. I am giving this one 10 out of 10. It was a great movie. Definitely go see it in theaters or watch it at home. Like I said, it was not a huge theatrical movie, but I like supporting movies like this, so that's the best thing to do. Golly jeez.
We froze again, people. Be right back.
We'll be right back. Okay. Okay. We are back to finish up this Thoroughbreds review. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I gave this one a 10 out of 10. Very good movie. I definitely recommend go seeing it in a theater or wait for it to come out. But definitely support this movie. It's a very well made movie, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it. If you're not really into the psychological elements of this movie, then it probably won't be for you. But it's just so intriguing, especially I'm somebody that really likes the study psychology and stuff like that. So that's why it was so intriguing to me to see these different kinds of psyches and personality types and see how they interact with each other in this movie. Mm-hmm. That was just really intriguing to me. So, guys, have you seen Thoroughbreds? Let me know what you think of it. If you haven't, are you going to go check it out? Let me know. I'd love to talk to somebody about this movie. Mm-hmm. It's very, very good. All right, so we're going to move on to our next movie. Tomb Raider. Lara Croft is the fiercely independent daughter of an eccentric adventurer who vanished years earlier. Hoping to solve the mystery of her father's disappearance, Croft embarks on a perilous journey to his last known destination, a fabled tomb on a mythical island that might be somewhere off the coast of Japan. The stakes couldn't be higher, as Lara must rely on her sharp mind, blind faith, and stubborn spirit to venture into the unknown. Alright, so this one we both actually saw.
Yes.
You more recently seen it. I watched it on Thursday night.
Oh, you went to a Thursday night showing?
Yes.
Oh.
Thursday night showing. So, what'd you think of it?
I thought it was pretty decent, actually.
Really?
I actually enjoyed it. I didn't see much of the same complaints that I've heard a lot of people complaining about it being boring or things happening at the end that made it feel too video gamey. I didn't see any of that. I thought it was a nice, fine little movie. What you think?
I liked it. I thought Alicia Vikander, best Lara Croft so far.
But so far, yeah, out of the two, she's the best.
Yeah, out of the two, she's the best. I never played any of the video games, but I would agree with people if they thought some of these action sequences looked pretty video gamey.
Don't you have Tomb Raider over there?
No, I don't have Tomb Raider.
Thought you did.
Nope. Mm-mm.
I might be thinking of someone else's video game collection now. Carry on.
Okay. But it's a little ironic that we lost one of the best physicists ever recently, because physics went out the window in this movie.
I'll see where you're going. Why is he bringing up Stephen Hawking? He's making a joke about the physics.
The law of the physics are completely non-existent in this film. When what should go down goes up. What goes left should go right. It was pretty cool though. I mean, it
was cool
because it was like a video game. Mm-hmm. Where, I mean, she can jump seemingly 50 feet far sometimes. She survives a lot of things that no human being should survive. And the one thing that got me out of everything was that rusty plane. if I touch anything with rust on it, I immediately feel like I need to go get a tetanus shot. And she's rolling around, climbing all over this rusty plane like it's nothing, and I'm just like, oh gosh, I don't know. That's not a critique. That was just a comment.
That was just a personal.
That's just a personal thing. But as far as the pure entertainment value in this movie, it's completely there. Mm-hmm. I never felt a point. It slowed down a little bit when she gets to this island, but it picks right back up and takes you.
Well, at what point do you feel it slowed down?
Just whenever I don't want to spoil the part, but whenever she goes out on her own, kind of felt a little bit slow, especially everything following the plane. I don't know. It was. I don't want to spoil what happens, but you know,
I didn't feel like a lull at any point in this movie for me. Maybe my standards is just lower.
Well, there's actually it was part of when she got to the island. I said, especially whenever she was become pretty much a slave to Walton Goggins' character. Mm-hmm. I said, "Oh, I hope this moves along because I don't want to see her being controlled for any period of time." I was like, I want her to do her thing for the rest of this movie because it was so fast paced getting there, and then it felt like it hit a wall for a second there, but it picks right back up, and it didn't do that lull that I was thinking was going to happen there. But for just a second there, I was like, oh, please don't let this go on for any longer than it did. And it doesn't. It does not go on for me. Or if you didn't feel that way at that point, just from other movies where you get to that point, you think, oh, please don't slow down here. It goes on. It keeps going. So I was fine after that. But
I know, by the way, I called the ending of this movie the very first time we saw the trailer.
Really?
Remember I told you when we saw the trailer of the Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
I said, you just saw the last shot of the movie.
Yeah, that was the last shot of the movie. You're right. You called that. You did call that. You said that last week. Mm-hmm. Okay, but we're not to the rating or the review number yet. But anyways, there was parts. I will say there were parts. There's a lot of narration in this movie, and in a video game, when this particular part happens, is where I'm waiting for that press A to skip to pop up. I was like, I'm not following this guy's narration. Just go ahead and skip it. I don't want to hear anything about it because I'm not following any of this. So
you're like, get on with it, man. Get on with it.
Yes, I didn't need to know any of that information to get to where we got to at the ending. I was like, geez. I was like, the stuff that she covers on her own without this narration was far more entertaining than this guy's narration of trying to put all this the word is called. I'm trying to find this backstory to exposition. Yes, with all this exposition, I don't need it because I don't care about it.
That's one problem video game movies tend to have. How do we they don't have a creative way to tell the backstory without narration.
Right. They're somehow trying to grow this universe that they think people are going to care about that I did not care about. That's the one. This mission I didn't technically care about. I cared about the end results, but I didn't really care so much about what she was doing.
Iron Man sort of way.
Yeah. I was like, I'm cool with everything that's going on here, but I just did not need to know so much of its exposition because there's literally 4 or 5 scenes of narration that I just did not need at all. But as far as everything else, though, I think. Like I said, Alicia Vikander, she's such a great actress, and the acting is kind of underutilized, but it really isn't needed in this kind of movie.
No,
not to what she can do.
It would have helped if they gave her more to do, but for what she had to play with, she did perfectly fine.
Yeah, but I will set a little higher standard for a sequel. That's no doubt going to happen.
Well, now, you got to make money first.
Yeah.
So let's not throw all our eggs in the sequel bucket just.
Well, it's getting a mostly positive critical review. So,
mostly positive for a video game movie.
Yeah, mostly positive for a video game movie. People are still saying
it's in the high double. It's in the mid range double digits.
Yeah,
which is not the norm for a video game movie. Usually, it's like the low to single digits.
This isn't quite where you wanted we're finally getting a good video game movie. It's not quite where you wanted to be, but we're heading in a good direction with this movie.
You know what? A movie review we just watched minutes before we went on is gonna said it best. The Rock is gonna say video game movie now, isn't he? Because Rampage is coming out in a few weeks, and that actually might be good because it's the first one that goes, "This is a video game. We have the right to be stupid here."
Yeah. Well, the game itself is ridiculous but fun.
Oh, the game is ridiculous and fun, and they actually changed elements from the game to make the movie make more sense than the game did.
Yeah. Because
in the game, the creatures are humans that are turned into these things.
Right. Let's stay focused on this one. Let's
stay
focused right here. But anyways, soundtrack was pretty good. There's a lot of just drum beats and stuff that were that added, I guess, pretty well to the movie. And the CGI in this isn't it's not bad CGI.
No, it's not at all.
It's pretty good CGI for a movie like this. And
one thing I like how grounded it was and how sometimes brutal it was.
Yes. Oh, that was the other thing. The violence in this movie is pretty brutal for a PG-13 movie. You actually have some blood with the gunshots, a little bit of blood, not a lot, but more than you'd normally see in a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, people when they get shot, it's just like, oh,
yeah,
he just shot that dude. And he didn't care. He just it didn't have like the dramatic It was like the boom.
Yeah.
Oh, he dead.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not playing around.
Nope.
That was one shot, one kill. And it's like, all right, I'm afraid of that man.
And Walton Goggins was a passable villain. He did what not as much as you would want from a Walton Goggins performance, but still pretty good.
He was intimidating when he needed to be intimidating, and charming when he needed to be too.
That was the other thing. There were some parts where I felt like they were leading up to us feeling more sympathetic for him. And it didn't quite get to that point. I was hoping to feel a little bit more sympathy for him because that's usually how you really get a good villain is when you kind of feel like you can go to his side. Mm-hmm. But the motivation didn't quite get to that point.
Yeah, because all he kept saying, "I want to get home to my kids."
Yeah, see, that's why I thought we were going to feel a little bit more sympathy for him, but we didn't. It never got to that point. And then for the ultimate motivation for why he wanted to get out of there, I felt like there was other ways he could have gotten out of there than what he was going to accomplish with what he was trying to do. Mm-hmm. I felt like there was other ways he could have gotten home, especially with the satellite phone. You don't need to. I don't know. Well, this is an Illuminati type of organization he's working for, so he may have thought there's no other but that wasn't explained very well. If this was an Illuminati type situation where there's no escape for him.
Yeah, but you also got to take into account that the way it ended, it's so deceased that we're going to explain how far this goes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
they couldn't go too far in explaining that if they want to save that for a sequel. Yeah. They didn't want to sow the seeds like, oh, you thought this was just you like, and I thought the way they did that was very clever. Like you were seeing this thing everywhere, but you didn't know what it was, so you just kind of put it out the back of your mind. You just kind of like, well, this is a weird little thing. Why does this keep popping up? And then at the end, they showed you all the time. You saw it again. It was like, oh,
yeah.
Oh, so there was a point to that. And then it's like, it went full circle to everything you saw in the movie. It was like, okay, this movie's a little more clever than you would think it would be for just to be adapting a video game. They actually put some thought into it. Not a lot like you would see like them do for other movies, but more thought than your average video game movie went into it. Like your Assassin's Creed didn't put nothing into that.
No.
Back on track.
Yeah.
Don't pull up bad video game movies.
Oh, that is interesting to point out, though, being that Alicia Vikander and Michael Fassbender are a couple, and both are in video game movies, or were in video game movies within a year
and
of each
she's
other.
in the slightly
better one.
Slightly better one.
Yeah. Anyways, we are now at the time to score this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to give this one a 7.5 out of 10, just like I did the other one.
I'm just gonna give it a flat 7.
7? Okay.
That's a flat 7.
All right.
Because there were some moments that was like, they could have did that a little better. Mm-hmm. And I will give them an edge on the where other people are complaining about the whole MacGuffin thing happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then it's like, oh, this is like really turning into a video game.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if you look at it this way, it had technically been sealed for so long, so no air could get in or out. So cracking it open is like cracking open a beer. Anything that's left in there is going to be fresh. So yeah, it's gonna happen like that. So that's par for the course. That's because the body's and the thing inside is dying, but it's sealed though. It's just stuck in there. So that made sense to me in my mind using science.
Mm-hmm. So my one worry was that this movie was going to take a supernatural.
Oh yeah, man!
And then I would have been so mad.
Oh yeah.
I said, you guys are gonna go to the worst take after the worst Indiana Jones movie. No. So,
but the clever reveal of how they didn't go that route was cool too.
Yes. Okay. But yeah. So this was a little bit more grounded. I think I could have used a little bit more believability, I guess, in the action. But I mean, the action scenes are pretty dope. So
but to be fair,
I go at this like at the same way now. If I'm having to look at a sequel, that I look at the Fast and Furious franchise.
I would say when it came to the action scenes, it actually accomplished what it wanted to accomplish because I was watching these action scenes and I could just see the button prompts.
Right.
and I think that's what they were going for. Like when the one on the boat, what you was like climbing across.
Yeah.
I could just see myself doing this with the triggers, like trying to get across really fast. So I'm guessing that's what they were trying to. They were trying to get it to come across as tense action for the non-Tomb Raider fans in the audience, but for the game, we still give you that angle of this is shot like it's a video game. This is shot like it would be if it was a QuickTime event.
Right.
You got to make sure that we hit that button or she dies.
Yeah. So guys, did you guys check out Tomb Raider? Let us know your opinion of the movie. Are you gonna check it out anytime soon? Just let us know. So you gave it a 7. I gave it a 7.5. So what's that? 7.25?
Yeah,
7.25 or something. I don't know.
7.25. Yeah.
So yeah. So that's fair. It's a good good C minus.
Good C minus. Yeah, it's a fun time at the movies. You just turn your brain off a little bit.
Yep.
If you go in thinking too much, you're gonna hate it.
Yeah. So I'm keeping your expectations low so that way you can actually enjoy it. This movie was good. This movie was good.
I don't like when people just pick movies apart just because of the fact it's fun to pick movies apart. Pick movies apart because they're genuinely bad and disappointed you. Don't pick them apart just because it's fun to do. Like when me and him make fun of the DC movies, pick them apart like we do, it's because we were disappointed in them. It's not just because we're hopping on the bandwagon.
Yeah. And we don't go there to trash it. We really want it to do better.
We want it to do better.
Us cheering for it to do better.
We want it, but we still go see and support the movie. It's just the fact that they're not giving us anything to support.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of like the fanboy stuff where they are trashing things because there's no way of pleasing them.
Mm-hmm.
Where for me, I will cheer it whenever they do well, and I will tell it whenever it does bad.
Yeah, like you said, we both enjoyed Wonder Woman, but anything else in there is just not good.
Yep.
We did say Justice League was a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So it's not weird. So when we just say Tomb Raider is a fun time at the movies, it is just that, a fun time at the movies. It's not a movie where it's going to be a cinematic landmark for years to come, or they're going to be talking about it and like they're going to make the AFI 100 or nothing like that. This is just a fun movie. Sometimes we just need fun movies throughout the year too. Not everything can just come out and set the box office on fire. Sometimes you just need that little bit of escape too.
Like me, I think The Fate of the Furious is one of the stupidest movies in the world, but it's one of the most entertaining movies I've seen. I'll go see them all the time now.
If it's entertaining and it makes you feel something, can it really be a bad movie?
Right. Yep. See? All right, so let's go ahead and move on to
that was just a little sidebar I wanted to have.
It's good. It's a good sidebar. Go ahead and move on to our last movie review. Surprise, surprise. I Can Only Imagine. Let's see here. Based on the incredible true life story that inspired the beloved chart-topping song I Can Only Imagine, is a song that brings ultimate hope to so many, often in the midst of life's most challenging moments. Amazingly, the song was written in mere minutes by Mercy Me lead singer Bart Millard. In reality, those lyrics took a lifetime to craft. Oof.
Ooh, that
summary was nothing.
That summary was like
Don't always go to IMDb for your movie summaries. You have the time, write one, but I didn't have the time to write one.
That summary was like, oh boy, it's like that movie made this movie sound so generic. It's like wow, this is like I'm digging in the Walmart 374 bin for this movie. Like, okay.
For the movie itself, which you did not see, I went and watched this one yesterday. Just a little backstory. I have a huge bias for Bart Millard. He's one of the most interesting people out there right now, and one of the best vocalists out there ever. He's somebody that Zach and I have had the pleasure of meeting in person. He was a really awesome person, awesome human being, with a really interesting story, especially with this song. The song, I can only imagine, that didn't give it any credit to what it was able to accomplish. This movie, that song is triple. The album itself that it was on is triple platinum, which is over 3 million sell. The song managed to not only top Christian charts, but it also was charting in country music, charting on the pop charts. It was charting on adult contemporary charts, which is something that nobody's in the Christian music genre has ever done. Not like that anyway. So, and I think this song, for people that are familiar with Christian music, like it's like Amazing Grace. Like whether you go to church or not, you've heard that song. I think you've heard of I Can Only Imagine.
I have not heard the whole song, but I have heard the refrain of I Can Only Imagine.
So yeah, so that was. I mean, this was something that in the 2003, I believe, or no, the song came out in 2001, even though it was like written back in late 90s, but still. Now the story for how this song was written. It was written off of Bart Millard's relationship with his father, which is what was portrayed in this film, from his childhood to growing up with a very abusive. I mean, the amount of abuse in this movie is pretty hard to watch in this movie, especially for a Christian film. I wasn't expecting to see so much of what they showed. Especially Dennis Quaid played his father. Amazing performance by Dennis Quaid. I think this is one of his better performances of recent memory. But yeah, this was from the abuse that he had to endure growing up from pretty much childhood to his young adult life, and then moving out, and then trying to start his music career, which wasn't really taken off very well, and then coming back home to his dad, who seemingly has changed. I will say that he has changed. Some for the better. Yeah, you have to see the movie, I guess, too. I don't want to spoil all of it, but he's changed. He's come to so this movie is a lot about forgiveness. It's got a message of forgiveness. It's got a message of redemption, and that part was very well accomplished in this movie. This movie accomplished what it seemed to set out for emotionally. The parts where it has some problems, though. It has some problems in the acting department with some of these, mostly with the younger actors. There's a couple child actors in here that really, they were pretty bad. But there was also some developmental problems with some of the there's some developmental problems in the music career portion of this movie. I would have liked to have seen, because they seemingly are, for what they're telling us, they're doing okay for like just a band living out of their car. They're seemingly doing okay, but when they go out and do some of these performances where they're trying to get record deals and stuff like that and are completely bombing, I felt like some of the feedback they were getting back from record labels felt unrealistic. It felt cliched. Like you're never, don't, like, give up on your dream. Don't ever do something like that. It's like, do people really say that? I don't feel like they do. I don't know. I'm not.
It felt like very stock. Yeah. Give up. You will never be nobody in this industry ever. So why are you even trying? Go back to being a farmer. Or
I don't doubt like that they were getting negative feedback, but some of that just felt so cliche.
It felt so cliche. So when they overcame it, you'd go. The people in the audience would go, Yeah. 80s freeze frame fist in the air.
Yeah. But as far as one of these Christian themed films, this is one of the better ones out there. It's this one, just much like the song, it has a reach farther than just its Christian audience. But I just wish that it had some of those elements had been just a little better. The cinematography in this is great. This is excellent cinematography, and the actor, because I have such a high opinion of Bart Millard's vocal abilities, I went going into this movie with low expectations, thinking that Michael Finley, I believe, or J. Michael Finley, was going to ever be able to match his voice, because I thought they were going to at least let Bart Millard sing it and let him just lip sync, because nobody has the range that Bart Millard does.
Mm-hmm.
But what J. Michael Finley was able to do with his own vocal ability is pretty good. It's still not quite where Bart Millard is, but he did a much better job than I was giving him credit for going into this movie. So I do want to give him that. He did a very good job. Came as close as anybody probably could have as far as matching Bart Millard's vocal abilities. So that was great. But as far as, like I said, the shining star as far as the acting performance in this movie was definitely Dennis Quaid. But J. Michael Finley, excellent actor, and I think he captured Bart Millard's personality very well, especially with just some. But like I said, the movie has the problem with the cliche problem.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the emotional goals that they set out to accomplished with me anyway. I think it can. But like I said, I have quite a connection with this band and with this song. And
hold on, I gotta pick this up off the floor. It's the name you keep dropping.
The name I keep dropping. Whose name? Bart Millard.
Yeah, you keep dropping his name. Like, yeah, I met him.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm just. It's called cracking a joke. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Before I met him, I've only recently met him. But this song, I've been in his music. I've been a fan since the late '90s.
Yeah, I was just cracking a joke because I would do the same thing if like I met a certain dude. It's like, yeah, I met him.
But the part I'm talking about, the connection is the connection with the story, because there's a lot of parallels with. My dad was never abusive or anything, but him losing his dad in this movie and the path to redemption that his father had to go through is fairly similar to some of the stuff that I had to deal with. And ironically enough, before my dad passed away, I bought him Bart Millard's hymn CD. My dad never listened to Christian music, but he loved Bart Millard's voice, so he listened to that album repeatedly before he passed away. He didn't care about the message, and he just loved to hear Bart Millard sing. And he loved the style of music that he did, because he's got such a unique style. He's one of the catchiest songwriters you probably will ever hear. So there was just that kind of connection that I had with him and the song, the story.
Okay.
Because, like I said, Mercy Me is one of my favorite bands of all time, but I've only over the last 5 years was able to meet him. So that was
okay. I understand what you're saying.
Super cool. The connection I had with the story and with this movie.
All right.
The parallels, like I said, and with my life and with his life was really what I felt. Probably why I said, I connected more with this movie than some people might. That's why I said I don't know if it's going to work well emotionally, because I was a bawling baby in the theater watching this movie. I will admit that. The movie, like I said, I don't know, because that's the problem with a lot of these movies, is that they'll take the cheap route to get to you emotionally.
And it works.
And I don't know if it was I don't think they took the cheap route, but I definitely connected with this movie emotionally. And but like I said, I broke down. But like I said, this is a very relatable movie for someone like me. I don't know if anybody else can relate to it that well, but for me, it worked. And but like I said, there's just some story elements that just felt too cliched, and but I'm gonna give it its fair due, and I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
But definitely check this movie out, especially if you're familiar with this song and you want to know what inspired this song. This is definitely they're not a one-hit wonder band, but this is definitely their biggest hit ever that they had in their career. But they've written so many other good songs also. But this was definitely the one that I became familiar with them with, and they have become a lifelong fan with after that. So, guys, let me know if you're going to check out I Can Only Imagine. If you have checked it out, definitely let me know, and I want to hear some comments about it and have a conversation. But, anyways, guys, that is our show. Made it to the end. We had a couple small glitches here and there, but
nowhere near old though.
Yeah, nowhere near. We managed to stay green. It's just
managed to stay green. Well, read the DFs.
Wow, only 59 drop frames. That's
only
very low.
59. Yes,
we were dropping by the thousands before. So
yeah, we pretty much dropped every frame but 59 for the last few times.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, like I said, that's the show. For some of the topics and movies that we discussed, we definitely want to hear back from you guys about. We want to, if you haven't got the chance to see any of them, let us, or like I said, let us know. But if you have, check them out. If you plan to check them out, go check them out and then come back and let us know what you thought of them. Because there were some pretty good movies that came out. We managed to stay 7 out of 10 and above.
Yeah.
This week,
nothing dropped below a 6 tonight, so everything's fine.
We're doing okay, guys.
Yay!
And I plan to go check out. It's called Love, Simon. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Love, Simon. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm planning to go checking that out either this weekend or this coming week. So look out for a review for that next episode. There's probably gonna be a couple.
The big 25th episode.
Oh yeah, number 25. Hopefully we don't freeze up again next week. We'll figure out what all that is. But I think we got the sound working. I think I'm going to check this out afterwards and see if our sound went well. But it's seemingly
video's working fine. Sound video could be a little better with minus the camera freezing. That's nothing on our end. That's actually the camera.
Yeah.
But the sound's fine. The internet's working beautifully.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll be a well-oiled machine.
Pretty soon we'll be maybe by 25 we'll figure out the camera issue.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, like I said, that's episode 24. Let us know what you think of it, and check out our other videos. Last week's episode was another one that seemingly went well. We also have a couple reaction videos that we shot after last week's episode that are on the channel. Check those out, and
all our social media is in the description below.
Yes.
Me, him, and our other third host, Zakary.
Yep.
Just check in there for all our social media information, and like, comment, share, subscribe, and if you like what we do here, and you want to see us grow bigger and better, maybe kick in a few bucks on our Patreon.
Yep, check out our Patreon. We actually you don't have to just kick in a few bucks. We got stuff that we can give you too.
Yeah, so kick it in gives you stuff too.
Yeah.
In addition to the show we make here for you now.
Yep, and like I said, we are working on starting a podcast show on here that covers everything across the board. It's a little bit more personal, a little bit more
laid back, relaxed.
Yep. So
yeah,
let us know in the comments what you would like to hear us discuss on that on that program. And guys, that's it. We will see you guys next time. I am your host Walker Cheatham, and this is
EJ Flemming. See you for episode 25.
Yep. Bye.